Good evening to everyone, to the panelists, to all the attendees. Thank you all for joining. We have got a lot of registration for this particular webinar, and I'm sure even after the webinar, once the session is out, we could expect a lot of hits on the video. I would be starting with the introduction. So the flow of this webinar would be that all our three panelists would be speaking for 10 to 12 minutes, and after that, we would be discussing about certain topics which are related to the webinar, which is role of NHRBP in the new normal. After that, we would be open for the Q&A. All the details would be shared in the side in the chat. So I request all the attendees to continuously look on the chat tab. And obviously, you can have your questions ready. We'll try to accommodate maximum people, but obviously time is always a constant. So we'll see how much we can. So before I start individual introduction, let me just give you a collaborative introduction, because I think collaboration is the word of the hour. Yeah. So amongst all our three panelists today, we have almost 40 years of experience, 10 plus organizations. If we have to see.
Who got introduced first, Arun?
No, I was thinking the person with most degrees should go first. So Rajesh should, go first.
Mostly, I don't know whether those are degrees. Those are postgraduate diplomas, right? Anyways, what's in the word? So let me give a quick view on what we are talking about, and thanks everyone for joining in. These are very unusual times, and most of the organizations are facing those, going through very tough situation at this point of time. The biggest challenge is no one knows when the recovery will happen, right? And no one is also clear about what battles are they fighting. There is tremendous inconsistency in the manner in which the response has been given, whether it's by the governments or by the organizations. No one knows what is happening. Things are changing pretty much every day. So is the situation on ground, the response which is there. Now comes the question, what would the HR partner do? To me, the first and foremost role of the HR partner would be to become the voice, right? To be the mouth and the ears, and stand between the decision-making body of an organization and the employees. Very importantly, these are the times when there is communication, over communication actually, and pretty much everyone is either a pseudo doctor or someone who already knows the solution of the impact of COVID which exists today. So very importantly, two-way communication is the first focus area for the HR partner. Second focus area to me would be a focus on employee wellness and mental well-being. There is pressure. People are under significant pressures. They are unsure about their job. They are unsure about their earning. They are unsure about groceries. They are unsure about how would they do their living. Importantly, they are unsure about their loved ones. People who have parents at home, people who have kids at home, whether it's their own parents or in-laws, they are very worried about it. My own parents, they are on the other side of 70. They haven't stepped out of my flat or my building for the last close to 70 days now. I'm worried about them. So is everyone. And it's a fact. People need to vent out. And that's where employee wellness and mental well-being is going to be a key focus. The leaders are running helter-skelter. The business numbers are dwindling. Things are pretty much all over the place. We don't know where the business will go. The salesperson is chasing, but there is no market. The finance person is chasing, but there is no money. A role that the HR leader or an HR partner has to do is to keep the leadership flock together. And that's very, very important. Pretty much everyone is writing an epitaph in terms of that, the organization is going to go away, we don't have jobs. You open the newspaper, you read thousands of people getting infected, thousands of job losses. There are people who are playing up. There are certain facts that exist today, and the challenges will continue. An HR partner can do really well by disassociating himself or herself from what's happening around, be rational, and ensure positivity is maintained in the organization. To me, these are certain aspects of an HR partner's role that one can very well see on that. A few days ago there was an article. I don't know where. I think it was an HBR article I was reading. Uh, it did a very quick survey, and they actually says that 20% of people are their sleep has become worse than usual than COVID, right? 60% of the people actually talked about that uh, their sleep is worse if they are living in affected areas. So I stay in one of the affected areas. Not that my society is affected. I stay in Bombay, right? And we are seeing situation becoming worse. Women, they have been affected a lot, right? A lot of men would be realizing at this point of time the type of pressure they feel, especially working women. It's been a very strenuous situation for people. So HR partner needs to be aware. HR forever is being the charge of the softer part of it. To me, empathy is the key. Uh, so if you are an HR partner, and if you have challenges, and if you're feeling frustrated, for feeling angry, please reach out to someone who can listen to you, so that you can get it out of the system. Something which I like to quote, which I've been telling a lot of people: COVID is going to stay. It is going to be here. Let's understand how do we work out and how do we move forward. In terms of action, there is a lot of focus on webinars, a lot of focus on learning. Uh, what skills they are required, what needs to be reskilled. My day is simple. First, define what is the new world will look like. The new world will be in a situation where employees would be defined as critical, who needs to come into business critical, who need to come into the office. Employees would be defined as who can come on a staggered manner, who will be grouped together. There would be a situation where group one will never meet group two for years together. And third would be who will continue to work from home. And it would be a sectoral representation. A manufacturing sector will still have a lot of people who are required on the shop floor, whereas a services sector, maybe 75 to 80% of people can operate from home, and that's pretty much happening. Because that's one avenue where companies can actually control costs as well. So that's part A of it. Part B of it, you will see companies will focus a lot on costs. Not worth mentioning, there would be job losses, there would be cost reduction, there would be salary delays, there would be um, there would be situation where people would have to work with half of their compensation. I was talking to someone who was my engineering classmate actually, and he's in the US for last 18-19 years. He's an Ahmedabad postgraduate, and that individual told one thing, because he's in New York, he's seen people dying on the streets. His bonus way of defining bonus for the year is that if I and my family live to see 1st January 2021, I think I've earned my salary for the year. So that's how people are also defining the aspects. So when we come back to office will talk of social distancing, office will talk of PPEs, office will talk of maintaining working using technology. So a lot of practices will evolve, right? So while we are talking of a few days ago, one has to train people on executive communication, one has to train people on communicating using the system. Another example, someone was sharing that the fellow on during the call had switched off his video. I really felt bad about it. So these are now going to be, there has to be new definitions of that, and that's where to me skilling will come. There are people who have never worked using laptops. They had to learn because of the situation. One has to create balance between how long are they working, what will go on. So a lot of focus would be on those aspects. My take is, rather than jumping into the bandwagon of okay, that company is also doing this, I should also do it, focus on what is the recovery plan for the organization, and basis the recovery plan for the organization, where can HR come. The first few points which I mentioned continues to be there. It is going to be a long recovery. It is not going to be a very immediate recovery for that. And if someone, what needs to be done, the best thing that can happen, if you have a medical team which reports into human resources or which is a part of the organization, ensure that the employee or their family member who gets infected by COVID, and as and when they land up in hospital in need of a ventilator, they get a ventilator. I have certain examples of that I've heard of, and it is very important. So that's what I would like to share. And Arun or Saurabh, anyone who you would like to go after me.
Yep. Happy to go. Happy to go in next. Thanks, Papajit, for setting the context. Very well said, I would say. Okay, first of all, thank you very much, all of you, for joining in. I think beyond doubt, these are extraordinary times, and these are times which, without doubt, none of us in our life have ever witnessed, and possibly and hopefully would never witness again as well. Right, and given these are extraordinary times, I think the way and the fact that we're talking about the role of HR business partners in these extraordinary times, I'll go and try to build on what Soumya Paji already talked about, right? And the way I really look at how the role of an HR practitioner has evolved in last, I would say, about 8 weeks. Given my experience of working with our portfolio organizations, more than 100 of them across the country, I think the first thing which really you need to start off with is by acknowledging and accepting that we are not in business as usual, right? And we possibly will never be in business as usual again, right? And the fact is that there is a new normal which has been defined, whether we like it or not, in last few weeks time frame, right? Ever since COVID-19 has struck the entire world. I think the sooner we as HR practitioners and leaders within the organization realize and accept that we are in a new normal is absolutely critical, and I'll go on to explain why I say that, right? I think unless you acknowledge this piece that your world, your environment has changed and is still undergoing a massive change, the next step, which is really around the fact that we all, any organization, any industry, works in that environment. That environment itself has got to change, which itself means that you need to be able to define what is the revised or the new goalpost for an organization is, which alluded to, right? That your environment has changed and it's still undergoing a massive change. The next step, which is really, I was hitting my echo, so I just pause for that. Okay, so but step one, I think, as an HR practitioner, and I certainly believe in as an HR business partner, is your ability to partner with your business leaders to be able to define what that new goalpost for your organization should be, right? And it's not to say that the goalpost has to be, or your metrics have to be lower than what it was pre-COVID, because obviously we're reading there are a lot of organizations in different industries, EdTech being one of them, which are actually doing better than what they were doing pre-COVID. Right, so the imperative it is that how well you are able to. I mean, you call yourself as a business partner, and that's why I think your number one responsibility as you moved into this crisis situation or these extraordinary times is your ability to partner with your business leaders and define what that new goalpost should be for your organization. Right, I think it starts with that. And once you do that, the goalpost, the moment you define the goalpost for your organization, obviously it gets trickled down to your teams, departments, and at an individual level. I think your ability to be able to do that in a fast enough, nimble manner will go a long way in figuring out how well your organization responds to these extraordinary times, right? Because if you sit tight and believe that everything is same, it's still business as usual. The only thing is people are now moved away from office and working from home. We are in for a disaster, because it's way beyond that. And as you start defining your new normal and as you start defining your new goalpost, I think it's just imperative as an HR practitioner to understand that the fact that we have started working from home remotely, most of us, means that suddenly the context of every single individual, every single team member is going to change, right? When you have every single person sitting in office, there's still a homogeneous environment which we call as office, where everybody is operating from, or free for that matter. But the moment you put everybody into a remote working, depending on the life stage an individual is in, his or her context or working environment changes. And just as an example, how a bachelor deals with a work from home or an extended work from home situation is very different from how a mother of two is going to respond to it, right? And your ability to understand, acknowledge, and use that as an important factor to define what should be your new goalpost for your organization or for your team or for your individuals in the team is extremely, extremely important. Because if you don't show that empathy, right, you would be really shooting in the dark by believing that it's still okay for everyone to work and work in a certain manner the way they were in an office, which is not the case. So understanding that piece, I think, is extremely critical for an HR business partner, that everybody's context has undergone a change, right? And your ability to understand is extremely, extremely important. So once you've defined the goalpost, I think that's where the new goalpost, that's where I think the second part of it, which Sumit Paji also alluded to, is really making sure that you're communicating and over communicating it to your teams, right? So suddenly, all of a sudden, your organization has undergone a change. The environment has changed, and because of that, now you're changing the goalpost for the organization, which means that the expectations from individuals have undergone a change as well. How well you articulate and how well you communicate that to every single person in your team becomes super critical, right? And becomes even more critical because you're sitting remotely, right? So you can't really have everybody come into a meeting room and have that discussion on a whiteboard. You're sitting remotely. So over communicating and making sure that you use multiple sources or channels of communication to articulate and make sure that every single team member understands what the revised or the new goalpost for the organization, for the team, and for me as an individual becomes the second step, second part which you need to carry forward as an HR business partner or as an HR practitioner. Once you have done that, I think that's where the third element comes in, is ways to acknowledge that in order to achieve that new metric or a new goalpost which you are chasing as an organization now, what is it that you need to have in place in terms of skill set, in terms of environment, in terms of infrastructure? That's the third piece which starts coming in, right? So do your people have right infrastructure at their homes to be able to deliver on that revised goalpost, right? That's question number one, for example. Do they understand how would we collaborate in this remote working environment, right? So what are the collaborative tools we're going to use, right? And so that becomes number two. Do people have the right skill sets, right? Because suddenly you're asking everybody to work remotely. Do they have the right skill set to deliver on the mandate or the revised mandate which you've come up with? That's where the reskilling and the skilling piece comes in. And the fourth element is really around how do you keep a tab on the productivity, right? The output or the productivity of your of individuals, of teams, of your organization. That also will undergo a change, because how you were measuring your productivity in a pre-COVID world will need to undergo a change, because suddenly that environment of the context has undergone a change, right? So how do you measure, and then based on that, how do you do the check-ins, and then how do you keep continuously evolving what that the goalpost needs to look at? And the reason I say that continuous check-in is important, because we still are nowhere close to finding an end to these extraordinary times, as Paji also talked about, right? So your ability as an HR business partner to continuously monitor the needs of the organization, needs of the individuals, from a skilling, from a productivity, from an infrastructure perspective is super, super critical. And I would say is number three, which you need to have as a skill set to be able to deliver on your own promise as an HR practitioner. Right. So to sum it up, I think the way I would talk about it is that your ability to understand that we are in a new world or a new environment, and therefore the goalpost needs to be shifted, and partner with your business leaders to do that. Figure out how you communicate and how do you communicate that to your team. Be empathetic towards the fact that every single person's context has undergone a change, and therefore that needs to be factored into when you're creating the new goalpost for yourself. And then third element is really how do you enable your folks, right? How do you get engaged, motivated, skilled, productive in these extraordinary times? Right? That's how I would sum it up. Over to you, Arun.
Hey, thanks Saurabh. And I think Sumit and Saurabh have covered a lot of important points. And like Saurabh, I would also like to build on what Saurabh and Sumit Paji have already shared. So I'm going to bring in a new perspective here in terms of the head, the hand, and the heart. Now, if you look at the way our associates are experiencing this change, like we call, associates across the world, there have been these changes in the past as well. I'm in Singapore now. I got to know about the Chinese zodiac very recently. And in the Chinese zodiac, there's a 12-year cycle. So whenever there's a year of rat, generally they say that it's a challenging year. If you go back 12 years back, we had the 2008 subprime crisis in the US, the economy going through a very tough time. If you rewind 12 years back, you had the whole situation around Southeast Asian markets kind of melting down. If you go 12 years back, I was born. So I don't know what all things happened, but I know in India that year, there was the entire crisis around the gas leak in Bhopal. So every 12 years, there is this cycle which, according to a Chinese, brings down the whole world into a different position, a position where they are uncomfortable. It's called the year of rat. Now, if I look at this situation which we're facing now, like what Sumit Paji and Saurabh also said, there has never been a situation like this in our living, or for most of us who are living now, you never experienced something like this. If we look back in history, maybe in the 1918, when the Spanish flu came in, this kind of a health challenge was there and multiple people got impacted. So if you look at this from a HRBP context, HRBP's role, like Sumit Paji also said, is a crucial link between the business and the associates. And HRBP is kind of the fulcrum around which everybody rotates, the policies work, the way of working works, the culture piece works. So going back to the head, hand and heart, the HRBP has to think about all these three things in a very organized manner. From a point of impact perspective, the hands get impacted first. So as a HRBP, you have to put in policies for safety. Like, what is it that the new normal is going to look like? Protective gear when coming to work, social distancing. There could be multiple aspects there. So you have to do a lot of things which are, on the policy side of things. The what needs to be done differently? Where is this going to create impact? Those things need to be thought about. The second part is explaining the why, which appeals to the head. While these changes happen, it's very important to keep communicating. Both Sumit and Saurabh have given, emphasized on the importance of this. As HR business partners, that communication is very critical. Are you telling people, hey, go wear a mask? Or are you telling people there is a pandemic, the chances of containing this are much better if you wear protective gear. Here is why we want you to wear a mask. Both conversations are different. In the first, it's coming down as if, do it, there's no other choice. In the second, there is concern that the employer is showing towards the associate to say, this is a change, we'll go through it, let's do it together. So how do you appeal to the head? How do you explain the why is going to be extremely critical for HR business partners. And the last part is the heart. If you look at the heart, this is where the most impact happens. And this is where it's most difficult to influence. A few days back on WhatsApp, I saw two contrasting forwards. One was the Airbnb CEO, Brian Chesky, writing a note to his associates to say, hey, look, not everybody will be able to continue on the boat. We have to let go of some people. And second was a video from Uber where a lady, she was crying, but she probably announced to about 3,000 people that, hey, your jobs are no longer required. And both those videos, while communicating the same message, evoked very different kind of responses. What I heard from a lot of people is that the Airbnb message was probably received a lot better. And even though it was a tough message, it landed well with the people who were receiving it. And the world at large felt a lot more comfortable seeing that message versus that video where, although the lady was crying, the message people felt was not delivered in the right manner. I'm no judge here to say what is right, what is wrong. But what I'm asking all of us who are interested in the HRBP role is to really think about how do you want people to feel through this crisis. I read this somewhere that after the COVID situation comes to a normal, however, sooner or later it happens, there will be only two kind of companies. Companies that treated their people well and companies that didn't. And it is the HRBP who really makes that impact for how do you treat your people during these times. Because the world is watching, social media is out there, small actions can trigger big reactions. So it's very critical for us to make sure that as business partners, we're able to provide that support to our leaders to navigate this crisis and keep committed to our core values, which will be like a lighthouse. I heard Saurabh in another forum, Vantage, probably where he mentioned this, that your values need to guide you during these crises. So as HR business partner, it's very important for us to help our leaders revisit the core values, live that values on a day in, day out basis. As closing, I would say that as HR business partners, there are three things that you may want to consider doing differently to be more relevant, to be more successful in the new normal. The first is empathy, what both Sumit and Saurabh also said. These are times when there is little difference between the boardroom and the bedroom. In the past, everybody would sit in a boardroom, you would create an environment which is controlled, and then you can give an experience to people who will experience it almost similarly. But today, everybody's bedroom is different. like Sumit said, earlier, everybody's experiencing this differently. A working mother of two will experience this situation very differently than a person who's probably a bachelor staying alone in his house or her house. So empathy is very, very critical. Like as HR business partners, how can we make our leaders be more attuned to what the realities are for each of his or her team member and provide that customized solution or support that will make people feel comfortable in the new normal. So empathy is number one. Second, linked to empathy is authenticity. As leaders, you need to walk the talk. You cannot expect your company to treat you in a certain way and treat others in a different way. The calamity hits all. If a COVID-19 virus is spreading, it will not differentiate between somebody who's rich or somebody who's poor. It will not ask, oh, are you the MD? You are let free. Are you the worker on the shop floor? You're going to get impacted. The risk is probably similar to all. So how do you as leaders communicate those messages, take those decisions, which are really going to help everybody in the same manner? I was listening to Sumit's earlier version where Zubin Milla sir talked about adaptive leadership, which is really about employing design thinking, taking people along, and reiterating decisions. I think leaders need to be comfortable with implementing the best decision in the room, and it might not be theirs. It might come from any corner in the room. It might come from any part in the world. If they're seeing something good, they should have the humility to be able to accept that and replicate that for the greater good of their teams. So authenticity is very critical, and one of the important aspects of authenticity is humility. And the last part is agility. The three things that I said is empathy, authenticity, and agility. Why I talk about agility is in today's world, we don't know what tomorrow is going to look like. We have the benefit of hindsight. We know what happened in the past, but nobody can predict the future. Today, large corporations are empowering companies to make decisions at the ground level. So today, if I look at Asia Pacific, Thailand is already open doing business. Australia is still, considering a partial opening up. Singapore is under a circuit breaker which closes next week. So every region is different. Somebody sitting in the US cannot make a policy or a rule which will apply to everyone. Local leaders need to be agile enough to respond to the situation and keep changing decisions as it is important to keep the show going. So authenticity, empathy, and agility are probably three things that business partners need to bring into their way of functioning, which will probably help your organization move forward.
So on that note, I think we are already exceeded the time. So I will also leave. So attendees, I'm sorry if there are more questions, but you can directly connect on LinkedIn. I hope everyone okay, and you can directly ask your question directly to the panelist on LinkedIn. So on that note, thank you everyone for joining the session today, and it has been very enriching, at least from my perspective. It also from my entire organization watching a lot of things which we have seen we can really adapt to, and we hope that we are able to bring you again on the platform to share the learnings. So thank you all, thank you attendees, and anything last word you like to add, something?
Take care. Wish everyone well. Social distancing, no social isolation. So thanks, Arun, for getting us together.
It's a great.
Thanks a lot for hosting us. This was brilliant.
Yeah.
Thank you so
much.
Thank you.
I would just like to end by a quote saying that this too shall come to pass. It might take a little longer, but nothing is constant but change. So I'm sure there is something better coming our way. We've seen such situations in the past, and people have survived. People have thrived. So we need to be really anti-fragile. This will come to an end very soon, and something else will come. We don't know. So we have to keep getting prepared. But thanks so much, Sumit. Wonderful to talk to Saurabh and Sumit through this panel, and thanks all participants as well for the lovely participation.
Thank you. So the video would be up there on YouTube. To people who have not watched, you can share it with friends, everyone who you feel. And on that note, thank you once again, and good night. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.